So this was a job that we were hoping we could avoid doing, but the time has come to just bite the bullet and paint the rendered section around the top of the building. When we did the rendering, we could only get the render in a grey colour, and obviously until it dries out, we weren't really sure what the final colour would be. We've lived with it for a while now, and it's actually quite a cool grey, and we're wanting kind of warm tones across the whole exterior of the building, so we need to do something about it. Well, that is bright.
I know, that's why I've got my sunglasses on, so I don't get snow blindness. It's also a very, very full tub. I've managed to not spill too much, but it says to water it down by about 15%. So I was really confident, and I was like, yeah, they've given you a tub that it can fit 15% more in the top, but yeah, it's probably a little bit too full.
It's meant to be like a beigey ivory colour, and in the pictures it definitely looked way more beige than it does here. It looks very light. So we'll get slapping it on and we'll see how it looks in situ. Thoughts?
Fine with the sunglasses. Wow. Initial thoughts, it doesn't look as bright on the wall as it did in the tub.
Results. The reality is we're probably going to have to do 2 coats anyway, so if this one ends up being a bit too bright or not quite the right colour, we can just add some pigment and maybe make it a bit softer.
This is one of the reasons that we were putting it off, just to see if we were strictly going to have to paint this. It is so fiddly getting it up to where it meets the tiles, and I can't even pretend that I'm doing a good job here. I thought having my professional painter and decorator dungarees on would help the job, but alas, no. We're trying our best to strike a happy medium between just getting the paint on, but also trying to follow that line of where the render is meeting the tiles. In reality, you're really not going to see that line because of where the gutter goes, but we still want it to be as precise as we're going to get it, but
we'll know.
We'll know. Ricky's just finishing up the first side, but I want to take a step away from the building to get the full impression, the full... What's the word I'm looking for? The full...
Effect.
The full effect of the paint job. I mean, there's no two ways about it. It is definitely a bit brighter than maybe we'd intended it to be, but it does look nice and it does look very Portuguese. And I think that's one of the things when you come to Portugal, just driving around, even on a really drizzly grey day, the orange terracotta, the bright render, the whiteness, it does make things, it does make things feel cheerier and just generally a bit nicer. What do you reckon?
It looks fresh.
It does look fresh and clean. I'm impressed with your performance, by the way.
My performance in what?
Well, you managed to get half of that gable done in the time it's taken me to make us and the dogs some lunch, so pretty impressive.
What can I say? Got the skills to pay the bills.
What do you reckon the odds are that we're getting all 4 sides done before sunset, bearing in mind the clocks have changed?
Non-existent. We've got about 2 hours, I think. 2 and a bit. So we can get the rest. We might get the back done, and we'll have to do the other gable another day.
Another coffee?
Go on then.
Then it's turbo time. Get the second roller. He's lost his mind, Papa.
Funny how quickly you forget all the little jobs that still need doing. It's just such a simple thing about of sight, out of mind. So things like this, when we did the render, and it's just, we've got a mess all over the edge of the tiles, and that was like, oh, I'll pop up one day and clean all that off. Completely forgot about it, haven't I? So
one day never comes.
yeah, I know. Maybe today's the day.
I think not. Whatever we're doing, we need to hurry up because I really don't like being way at the top here.
Do you want to get down? I'll do it.
No, we just need to get it done.
Okay.
Pronto.
Pronto.
Just want to take a quick pause to thank Squarespace for supporting our channel and sponsoring today's video.
Squarespace is a website that helps you build a website, and they've got everything in one place to help you launch your project.
For me, building a website is not something I would have considered doing on my own. I'm not technically minded, so it's very daunting to me, but we are actually using Squarespace to build our site, and I've been enjoying using it. It's really intuitive, very easy to use, and it actually makes me feel like I know what I'm doing.
You don't need to be creative either. You can use their design intelligence feature, which asks you a few questions about your idea or business, and then it uses AI to design you a beautiful website. You can then add pages using their pre-built layouts, and if you want to make changes, you just drag and drop things to where you want them. Once you're up and running, you can sell products, services, and content, make appointments, take payments, and buy shipping labels for your orders, all without needing to leave the platform.
So if you've been sitting on an idea for a project or business, but you're overwhelmed by where to start, give Squarespace a whirl and you'll be surprised at how easy it is. Go to squarespace.com/lifebyliving to get a free trial, and if you like it, use the code LifeByLiving to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.
I have to admit, when we finished yesterday, I wasn't sure if I was too keen on this new colour. However, with fresh eyes this morning, it's looking really sharp and really crisp. When we first decided to do the brick and the render on the top, we had a few comments basically saying, you know, this is going to make the building stand out like a sore thumb. If anything, this makes it blend in more. It's very, very common to have kind of new parts rendered. Actually, some councils even prefer it. They like the definition between the old and the new so they can see what's what. It's been a bit drizzly this morning, but it's just stopped. So we're going to press on and try and get the rest of this painted.
If you're wondering why we've not carried on with the pointing again this week, it's not because I've got in a huff or we've thrown the towel in with the whole idea. There is still a lot more of it to do, but we were always intending to just keep chipping away at it because it is a huge job, so it is going to take time. We wanted to paint because we're going to be doing quite an exciting part of the project actually very soon. We're going to be starting work on the veranda, and although it's not strictly necessary to get this painted before we do the veranda, we are going to struggle to actually reach over it. It is going to require some lying on top of a roof on your belly trying to paint, and that is just an unneeded complication. So that is why we're painting this week.
We're getting rained off. The paint is getting so watered down, sat in the tray on the scaffold, and yeah, the rollers are just getting saturated. The good thing about having an endless list of jobs to do is that in times like this, it's always easy to pivot and find something else. Look at the state of that thing.
It's horrible, isn't it? Look at this. Hello. In fairness to it, it has been through a lot. It's been up for what, like 2.5 years now?
Yeah, also it's not meant to be out in all weather and we leave it out all year round.
Yeah, the last storm that came through caused this new feature. So yeah, forced our hand, we needed to replace it.
We had wanted to build kind of a temporary veranda out here for the winter, but we're just running a bit low on time, to be honest, and we're just having to prioritise things on the tiny house. So for now, we've just bought another shade sail, not one that's kind of white creamy this time, it's a bit beigeier. So beigeier, is that a word?
Beigeier.
Beigeier.
That's no better, is it?
No, it doesn't sound right. One that's beige, so hopefully it won't pick up as much dirt, and they're really cheap, these shade sails, so we're just going to put this replacement one up for now, and that'll give us at least some protection from the rain over winter. This olive tree is having a real identity crisis. It's an absolute mess, but it's pressing really hard onto the shade sail, so it needs trimming.
Yeah, also, I do know how to prune an olive tree. I'm not pruning it, I am purely doing what Ricky said, just so it doesn't bosh on the shade sail.
We're at that time of year again where the olives are going to need picking within the next week or two. I think the press is open in 2 weeks' time, so maybe next week we'll start picking them. But some of the trees are absolutely laden. We actually still have oil left over from last year's pickings. We definitely won't have as much this year because there's nowhere near as many olives, and we cut a lot of the trees last year so they haven't got new fruit on. But yeah, we are definitely going to have some ideas for different things to do with the oil, different products to make. I know Victoria's been working on a list, but if any of you have any suggestions, let us know. So glad that fit.
I know, it didn't look like it was going to there.
It's meant to be the exact same size as the one before, but it's just, I don't know, a couple of inches smaller in every way.
That's what she said. Slightly weird light under here. I think I look a little bit jaundiced. So the rain's passed and we've actually got a little bit of sunshine poking through the clouds. Ricky's headed back down to the tiny house to carry on with the fourth side of the building. He's taking one for the team actually. He offered to do the rest of the paint job because my foot, it's kind of started to twinge a little bit. I think when you're recovering from an injury, you kind of need to know your limits a little bit, and being on the scaffold, you're constantly getting jiggled around, constantly having to stabilise yourself. And I think it was just the limit for my ankle. It's not 100% yet, but the doctor was very clear with the fact I needed to just use it as normal, not be overly cautious, just kind of live my life. She did also say not to use a support all of the time because I think you just become a bit too dependent on it and ultimately your foot's not going to be as strong.
I can't believe how much stuff we've acquired.
I know, we've become super hoarders.
Oh, don't say that.
All right, Pop. Is she happy? I can't tell. Oh, you heffalump. This is going to be our bedroom. I've just finished measuring in here because we've just forgotten what size it was. And believe it or not, it is the same footprint in here as the tiny house.
It feels smaller.
Really?
Yeah, but I think it's because it's a single pitched roof in here, so it's really tall at the back and then it comes down shorter at the front. I think it's about 5 meters tall, isn't it?
It's really tall.
Does it look easy enough?
Well, it all looks the same.
What do you mean?
So look at number 1 and 2. Looks like the same drawing, but they're all different bits. So
It's basically, you make 2 shelves and then they're stacked and you join them.
right,
Smaller one, bigger one. You got it?
only one of us needs to get it.
You know. We've only got 5 shelves,
Yeah.
so they can't all be equal, can they?
This racking is hopefully going to allow us to be a little bit more organised in that room and also win back a lot more floor space, because the next big job that we're doing on the tiny house is going to be ripping up the floor. I've been waiting for this one for so long. But it does mean that everything that's currently stored in the tiny house somehow has to fit in that room.
On reflection, it probably wasn't the best idea to empty this room out at the very end of the day, because we're now basically about to go into the darkness and the whole contents of the room is still outside. So we're going to get this racking in place and start getting everything back in. But we're going to leave you here. We'll see you next week and we'll be taking the floor up in the tiny house. See you then.